Our reading this morning is Life Goes On, from the late Reverend Dr. Howard Thurman, theologian, minister, and social justice movement leader. During these turbulent times, we must remind ourselves repeatedly that life goes on. This we are apt to forget. The wisdom of life transcends our wisdoms. The purpose of life outlasts our purposes. The process of life cushions our processes. The mass attack of disillusion and despair, distilled out of the collapse of hope, has so invaded our thoughts that what we know to be true and valid seems unreal and ephemeral. There seems to be little energy left for aught but futility. This is a great deception. By it, whole peoples have gone down to oblivion, without the will to affirm the great and permanent strength of the clean and the commonplace. Let us not be deceived. It is just as important as ever to attend to the little graces, by which the dignity of our lives is maintained and sustained. Birds still sing. The stars continue to cast their gentle gleam over the desolation of the battlefields, and the heart is still inspired by the kind word and the gracious deed. There is no need to fear evil. There is every need to understand what it does, how it operates in the world, what it draws upon to sustain itself. We must not shrink from the knowledge of the evilness of evil. Over and over, we must know that the real target of evil is not destruction of the body, the reduction to rubble of cities. The real target of evil is to corrupt the spirit of man and to give his soul the contagion of inner disintegration. When this happens, there's nothing left. The very citadel of man is captured and laid waste. Therefore, the evil in the world around us must not be allowed to move from without to within. This would be to be overcome by evil, to drink in the beauty that is within reach, to clothe one's life with simple deeds of kindness, to keep alive a sensitiveness to the movement of the Spirit of God in the quietness of the human heart and in the workings of the human mind. This is, as always, the ultimate answer to the great deception.
I arrived to this place on the day after a devastating election, already held in shared ministry, already held by the love of this place. I will explain. I arrived here on Wednesday, the day after the election, when our staff team had pre-planned to hold a day of respite. And I arrived in all of my own stuff, with all of my own feelings, of course. I arrived late because I decided it was not the day to not walk my kid to school. It was not the day to skip breakfast. And I arrived already held by other leaders and participants in this community. A text from our offsite communication specialist in our staff team group text chain, offering to support us staff who would be physically on site as we cared for so many. An email a week before the election from our board president thanking us for holding this space, acknowledging how hard it is, and expressing a hope that we too, as a staff team, have space for ourselves. I arrived already held and loved by this community. I arrived and coffee was brewing. Rooms were already set up for conversation and community, for silent meditation and prayer. Labyrinths, singing circles, listening circles, Zoom rooms, all awaiting whatever the day might bring. Love and community already gathered. Here in your staff and leadership team, here in all of you who show up, awaiting what the day might bring. And you might not believe it, but that day after the election here in this place brought dazzling beauty. Let me describe it. People showed up exhausted, angry, beings wanting to yell and run and hide and throw and cry. People showed up in shock, numb in disbelief. People showed up ready and resolved to fight, needing to fight. People showed up right here in our messy humanness to be together, to let our hearts break and break open together. You arrived with tears and donuts. You arrived with your fears and a word of comfort you'd found. You arrived with a song in your heart and that poem you saw on Instagram that got you through the day. You arrived with babies and kids, with friends and strangers you met on your way in. You arrived with fear and the wisdom of your ancestors. You arrived with exhaustion and the cry that you can do and hold no more. You arrived with your brokenness and your blessing, and yes, those can be the same thing. You arrived here having never been here before. You arrived here having not been here for years and years, and you, all of you, were and are here, whether you were or are physically here on Wednesday or right now. You might be watching this in the future or not. Whether you could get out of bed on Wednesday or today, you are here with us. This cacophony of broken, weary, resolved, exhausted, fighting, hopeless, hope-filled hearts, you are here. And this, my people, is what we have. A piece of paradise here on earth. A place of sanctuary amidst devastation, fear, and hate. A space of refuge amidst climate crisis and continued hurricane disaster, and increased crisis of political leadership at our national level. Thank goodness for some statewide wins, am I right? Thank goodness for the leadership here that leads with love and values the good of the whole over fear for the self. Thank goodness for this community, each and every one of you here now that comes together to be real with and to care for one another. This act is and always will be our paradise. And this will and can be paradise for others who need it. This place right here. To those who have already come through our doors and to those who will need our care and protection in the coming years ahead, for we know that is ahead, right? We are here. And we, together with all of us, can be this paradise, this sanctuary of community and relative imperfect safety and humanity. Now, we will talk more about what these years will require of us soon, what sanctuary we will be called and will need to provide. The gifts of care we have to offer those here who will be most at risk, and to those who don't yet know us but will seek this place as sanctuary. And today, my people, today we start small. Today we start by noticing the paradise already here among us and elsewhere too, so we might appreciate it and remember that the world is still here with beauty. Reverend Dr. Howard Thurman reminds us, let us not be deceived. It is just as important as ever to attend to the little graces by which the dignity of our lives is maintained and sustained. Birds still sing. The stars continue to cast their gentle gleam over the desolation of the battlefields. And the heart is still inspired by the kind word and the gracious deed. For it is through these small paradises, the song of a bird, the kindness of others, that we make this world into the world we long for. Now, I'm going to talk about theology for just a second, because you know I love to do that, and it's my job. And I think it's going to be helpful even today. Now, many of you who have been engaged in really any type of liberal religion, not just a Christian origin, have perhaps unknowingly been exposed to what we call social gospel eschatology. If you've been listening to me for the past year, you've heard this. Social gospel eschatology is the vision of the end times or a heaven where we say that we must dream of the world we long for so that we can make it into being here on earth, right? Our world might be hard, and we have to dream and envision the world that we long for so that we know what that tastes, looks, and feels like, and that dream can sustain us in the hard work of making a better world here on earth. Amen. I still love and believe this, and especially now, that faraway dream can sometimes feel too far away and can be discouraging, the task too hard, taking too much time. It might leave us easily discouraged and easy to give up. This is where, another word you don't need to remember, radically realized eschatology is a concept that leads us to another place. It's a fun word, though. Fun words, right? Radically realized eschatology. It says that paradise, bits of it, are here and now. We have to notice them, have to nurture them, have to grow them, allow them to become more and more of our world. Rebecca Parker writes in A House of Hope, the book much of our themes this year is based off of, we come to know this world as paradise when our hearts and souls are reborn through the arduous and tender task of living rightly with one another and the earth. Generosity and mutual care are the pathways into knowing that paradise is here and now. She continues, this way of living is not utopian. It does not spring from the imagination of a better world, but from a profound embrace of this world. It brings hope home today, to this moment and its possibilities for faithful love. My people, this moment is what we have, and we shall continue to look at the wide-eyed at the world. That includes its harsh realities and also its profound beauties. The astonishing beauty that we are here now together in love. My people, our task this week is to notice the little pieces of paradise around us. For those who are anxious and feel that is not enough, I will assure you that soon we will focus on nurturing and growing and creating more paradise. But today and this week, notice it where it is. In your natural world, in your spiritual practice, your prayer life, your relationship with whatever is ultimate, higher power, deeper power, God or goddess or humanity or universe, your interaction with people, with these people, this community of broken hearts breaking open that is right here. You need not deny your grief, your fear, your anger, but we must also notice those bits of paradise that are still here amongst us. Notice this place right here that is already a paradise, a sanctuary that we all have deeply needed this week and that so many will continue to need in weeks ahead. It is time for us to claim that we are a paradise, a sanctuary people, that this place is paradise, is sanctuary. Amen. May it be so, and may we make it so.